Media studio. In the last couple of minutes, my attention has been drawn to a particular article that I would like to address. This is the 21st of May 2025 on the Koiki Media studio, where as the spokesman of Dr. Chief Sunday Igboho, my attention has been drawn to a particular article that has been written to tarnish the image of a Yoruba son and also one of the most important member of the Yoruba Nation self-determination struggle. And that is in the person of Dr. Chief Sunday Igboho, popularly known as Sunday Igboho, aka Igboho Sha. I will be reading the article, and then I will also now be addressing each and every part of the article for the benefit of many of you that are watching and those that would help us to send the message Council of Tinubu and likewise the former Police Service Commission known as Ajia Naja'atu Muhammad. Why do we need to address this? Is because if we leave this without addressing it, future to come, many people would eventually believe the lies of these individuals as they try to tarnish the image of Dr. Chief Sunday Igboho. I have just spoken to Chief just about a few minutes before coming on live, and I've also made it known that we will not sit back and allow his image to be tarnished while he has not committed any crime within Nigeria and outside the shore of Nigeria. So please, if you ever come across the audio or the video and you are a friend to this criminal woman, as we know many of them are politician prostitute, please do let her know that whatever she tried to do to tarnish the image of Dr. Chief Sunday Igboho, we will not sit back without addressing such. It is not the first time, and it will not be the last, that we have seen many people that have tried, due to the fact that Igboho refused to bow down to the criminal politicians. He has refused to be bought either by the previous administration or the present administration. Igboho has remained firm with his quest that the Yoruba people needs to be free from the shackles and the bondage of a country that Britain created in 1914 called Nigeria. So what Naja'atu has done is to try to link and say, why is Sunday Igboho a free man and Nnamdi Kanu is still in a detention? The question is, these are two different individuals. They might have maybe the same fight that they are fighting for, but Igboho is not fighting the Fulanis. Rather, the Fulanis have decided to bring in war into the southwest part of Nigeria. Igboho is a Yoruba man, but first and foremost, let me address the article that was put together by these criminal politicians known as Naja'atu Muhammad Ajia Naja'atu Muhammad. I'm not sure where she got the Ajia from. We know how most of them have operated in Nigeria. Most of them, including her, are prostitutes to politicians, and they've used that, to camouflage their real human in them. The article headline says, and I quote, "If Igboho could be walking free, or if Igboho could walk free, while Kanu is kept in detention, what message does that send?" Naja'atu Muhammad, a former director in the President Bola Tinubu's Presidential Campaign Council, and she's also a former member of the Police Service Commission, and also as a former member of a prostitute, and also, as we know, most of them are ringleaders to take away innocent young girls out of Nigeria for prostitution across the globe. This is what they do. This is what they're good at. But let's come back to the article itself. From what we know, Ajia Naja'atu Muhammad says that President Bola Tinubu had sidelined the North in favor of running an administration largely centered around the Southwest. According to a report by Leadership, she made this claim while speaking on a pap show, which is hosted by Adiza Malofashi in Abuja, the Federal Capital Territory. Naja'atu, who currently chairs the Northern Star Foundation, a non-governmental organization dedicated to empowering youth in northern Nigeria, was said to have explained that she accepted a role in the campaign not out of genuine political conviction, but due to repeat pleas that were made to her. Naja'atu Muhammad was reported to have alleged that President Bola Tinubu's approach to governance at the federal level closely resembled the way he had maintained political dominance over Lagos State since 1999. She was said to have argued that despite leaving office as governor, Tinubu had continued to exert a significant influence over the state political structure. In addition, she was reported to have raised concerns over what she described as disparity. I wanted to take note of that word. I'll be explaining the meaning later on. In the federal government treatment of separatist figures, questioning while they had been silent regarding the secession activities of Sunday Igboho, while Nnamdi Kanu remained in a prolonged detention. She said, and I quote, "If Sunday Igboho could walk free while Kanu is kept in detention, what message does that send?" with a question mark. Like I said, I'll be explaining everything after the article has been fully read. Naja'atu warned that the country's foundation was being eroded under Tinubu's watch, urging citizens to demand more inclusive and visionary leadership. Governance should be about the welfare and security of all Nigerians, not a few. Sadly, that is not what we are seeing today, she said. Now that I've given you the bit of background to what Naja'atu have said, I will now dive into why it is important that we respond to all these criminal politicians that wants to damage and destroy the image of Sunday Igboho. We will not sit back and allow prostitutes and those that have created part of the problem from Buhari up to Tinubu to try to destroy the image of Chief Sunday Igboho. First and foremost, for the benefit of those that might probably have never heard about who Sunday Igboho is. it is important that I remind you that Sunday Igboho is a Yoruba man. But apart from being a Yoruba man, he has played a lot of significant role, regardless of whatever you call him. Some call him somebody that doesn't have the education to lead a kind of a movement that we are currently running under the leadership of Professor Adebanji Akintoye. Some have argued that Sunday Igboho was also a thug that worked with the politician in the past. All kind of names have been portrayed against Sunday Igboho, and we know that all these is for a reason. And that is why I'll be telling you everything that we need to know in this particular special broadcast again. As we know from many that have talked about Sunday Igboho, is a name that has become global, not just within Africa, but also internationally. If you happen to do a quick search on who is Chief Sunday Igboho, you're likely to come across multiple videos, multiple articles, and multiple blogs. But some of them, probably for their own selfish interest, portray Chief Sunday Igboho with all kind of names. But one thing I can tell you that many have never had before, which would be the first privilege today, is that first and foremost, Igboho is not just any name anymore. It has now become a name that can free the Yoruba people from the current bondage of the British 1914 fraudulent amalgamation. And that means Igboho is a name that many are scared and many are concerned that he might be the one to bring down the structure of a fraudulent amalgamation that Britain created to join the Yoruba, the Igbos, the Hausas, and force those that are known as the Fulani against each and every one of us. One thing I want us to remember is that Igboho is not fighting for himself. Igboho is actually fighting for the 60 million Yoruba people that are currently trapped in what is known as the fraudulent amalgamation that Britain put together. And as a spokesman, I can assure you that we monitor almost everything that comes across his name, especially those that are using his name for fraudulent reasons, those that have taken advantage of his name and have used it for their own selfish gain, and those that also wants to tarnish the image of Dr. Chief Sunday Adeyemo, popularly known as Sunday Igboho. But while all this is happening, the question in the lips of many is that who actually is Igboho, and why is the Sultan of Sokoto and the whole Fulani within Africa, and those of them that are managed to be well educated a little bit in Europe and America are after this man? Is because Igboho has now become the stoppage of the Fulani invasion into Yoruba land. Many, like Naja'atu, another Fulani prostitute, that is now comparing Chief Sunday Igboho that is free while Nnamdi Kanu is currently being held in the detention. We are not here to defend whatever she has said regarding Tinubu, because Tinubu is doing the same thing like what Buhari did for 8 years. I'll be addressing that. While I am here is to address Naja'atu Muhammad about what she said, that Igboho is free while Nnamdi Kanu is held in the detention. Two different cases, two different personality, two different individuals. We know what led to Nnamdi Kanu's being held by the government after he was kidnapped by Yemi Osinbajo, that was meant to know better, even if Buhari is not a learned person, because we know Buhari is not well educated. But somebody like the former vice president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Yemi Osinbajo, senior advocate of Nigeria, you would expect him to know better by not going through a kidnap situation of Nnamdi Kanu back to Nigeria. If Nnamdi Kanu is wanted in Nigeria for whatever reason, the normal procedure for the government to do was to look into the extradition of him by first applying to Kenya, where Kanu was residing as at the time. Just as the federal government, as we know, the Attorney General of the Federation could not just kidnap Simon Ekpa from Finland and bring him back to Nigeria. So I want us to look at those as something that has nothing to do with Igboho. It has to do with the federal government of the previous administration of Buhari and Yemi Osinbajo. So when the argument is sitting on the table that Igboho is a free man, and I hear this from many stupid, gullible Nigerians that are not learned, and those that say they are learned always try to play that Igboho is a free man and Igboho is walking across the globe even though he has committed a crime. Yet, we do not know the crime he has committed. I have the privilege this afternoon. I have been telling us that I have a particular document that many of you have never had the privilege to have before. And this is going to allow me, after Igboho has given me the authority, to read it out to all that keen to know and all that probably doesn't want to know, that if you continue to argue blindly because of your hatred to this Yoruba man that have become the stoppage of the Fulani invasion into Yoruba land today, and not just that, because not just about the insecurity, as some have argued, that Igboho was fighting for just the insecurity until we influence him to the self-determination campaign. Igboho is not a child, at least somebody that was born in 1970, October, is a man that can decide whether he wants to just fight the Fulani that are destroying and killing us, or somebody that now wants Yoruba people to be free from the 1914 amalgamation after he has been briefed by Professor Adebanjo Akintoye, and he decided that rather than becoming or still working rather with the politicians of today that are greedy, corrupt, that Igboho knows very well, Igboho decided to stop being part of the current and the previous political situation in Nigeria. And that has become a big concern because we know how the politicians operate in Nigeria. Most of the politicians need somebody like Igboho to be on their side, so that way they can intimidate, they can attack, and they can take away the right of the people away from them. And Igboho has not been able to achieve that with them, even while he was working with the former governor Ladoja. As we know, Igboho was a very honest man. Igboho, yes, played his role as a security operative for Ladoja, but because of the injustice that many wanted to do, Igboho did not allow such to happen for the 10 years of his life in Ibadan. And that means Igboho was well known. across Nigeria by many people that love his boldness and his loyalty, his humble, his humanitarian services across different parts of Yoruba land. Until date, we have not yet seen anyone that can come out and say Igboho has committed a crime against him or her. And that shows that the same record that has now been investigated by the European Union, and I'll be reading that to you for the very first time since Igboho has given me the go-ahead to read this particular article, what we can call a background search on Igboho. If Igboho was a criminal, he would have been stopped many times while he was moving from point A to B. But Naja'atu, as we know, is working for the Fulani devilish Sultan of Sokoto. And we know how this happened. We saw that in the last couple of days, we have been seeing visitation to the devilish Shaitan of Sokoto that says he lives in Sokoto, even though we know that he's also working an agenda to destroy Igboho. So by using a woman of such prostitute to come out and tarnish the image of Igboho, we are here to respond back to these criminal, evil Fulanis, that whatever you are trying to do to destroy the image of the most important Yoruba man in the history of Yoruba people that stood against Buhari's government. Buhari requested the late Alaafin to give him the chance to pick Igboho from the palace. Alaafin refused. I was not told this. I was right there when Alaafin, the late Alaafin, told myself and Igboho that Buhari, a Fulani man, that is also working in agenda of the Uthman Dan Fodio, that I would love to pick Igboho right from the palace. We know what happened. The late Alaafin refused to do such. Coming back to, again, what Naja'atu says, I'm not going to respond to his attack on Tinubu yet, because whatever Tinubu is doing, the nepotism Tinubu is doing, Buhari did more than that. The debt ratio between Tinubu and Buhari can be still compared, even though we know that many Yoruba people have died in the process of Tinubu being the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. But I want us to take note of some of these summary that I've been able to put together before I go back to the European Union article on Dr. Chief Sunday Igboho. Buhari brought Fulani into Nigeria. We know that it's not just Buhari. We know that Tinubu and the rest of them and El Rufai were also working together, but Buhari masterminded these. So if Naja'atu is talking about Igboho that is a free man, I believe Naja'atu should ask why there is so much influx of Fulani that Igboho was against. Even the late governor of Ondo State, Akeredolu, was a staunch man against the Fulani invasion in Ondo State that were used to promote terrorism and the killings of innocent Yoruba people across, the Southwest. So we should tell these prostitute women, or women rather, that she should go back to Castina and ask why Buhari allowed Fulani into Nigeria, and again, why Buhari collapsed Nigeria economy, and we know that Tinubu will not be able to do anything with the current economy since Buhari destroyed that economy. Buhari is behind the death of millions of Nigerians. We can go on and on. From the Lee Shuaibu that is currently still missing as we speak today. She's spending, I believe, a 7th year in captivity. We know many Nigerians, whether Yoruba, Igbo, Hausa, have died in the hands of a Buhari Fulani government. And I believe Naja'atu might want to address such rather than asking why Igboho is a free man today. Buhari sent killers, machineries to Igboho's house. Igboho escaped just as Nnamdi Kanu also escaped in 2017 when Buhari wanted to kill him so that the quest and their right to self-determination will be quashed completely. Nnamdi Kanu escaped. Igboho also escaped. But the difference is that Buhari thought that he could use the same method that they did with Nnamdi Kanu in Kenya to bring back Igboho from Benin Republic. But what Buhari failed to understand, that Benin Republic is still a Yoruba land, and whatever you might think